Right now, about 11.5 million people on Earth are sitting inside a locked cell. The machine that put them there, police, courts, judges, prisons, is roughly 5,000 years old. Humans have been humans for 300,000. So for 98% of our existence, there was nobody to call. No report. No building anywhere on Earth where this got decided. Just you and the 30 or so people you'd known since the day you were born. And these groups were not lawless. Anthropologists who lived inside them describe the opposite. Rules enforced so tightly you can feel them in an ordinary conversation. So what happened when you broke one? Let's start with what we know for certain. In 1963, anthropologist Richard Lee began living with the Jew/Hwanzi in the Kalahari and saw something that made no sense. A hunter would drag an enormous animal into camp, and everyone would tell him it was pathetic, skin and bones, barely worth the walk. It wasn't rudeness, it was policy. A man explained it to Lee almost clinically. Praise a successful hunter, and he starts thinking of himself as a big man, and a big man starts giving orders. So you cool him down first, not punishment, prevention, delivered as a joke by everyone to a man with nowhere else to eat dinner. Now, some of you are thinking, those are living people, studied last century. How does that tell us anything about 30,000 years ago? Fair question, and the honest answer is that we can't dig up an argument. Nobody fossilizes a grudge, but here's what we do have. The same tools appear in groups that never met: the Inuit in the Arctic, the Nuer in South Sudan, Aboriginal communities in Australia, zero contact, and the same solutions in the same order. In 1999, anthropologist Christopher Boehm surveyed dozens of these societies and named the pattern: reverse dominance hierarchy. In most primate groups, the strongest individual rules the group. Here, the group rules the strongest individual. Watch how meat gets divided. Among the Jew/Hwanzi, the man who fired the arrow doesn't hand out the kill. The owner of the arrow does. And arrows circulate as gifts. It looks like a bookkeeping quirk. It's a machine for stopping skill turning into power. But mockery needs a villain. What happens when two men are both furious and both certain they're the one who was wronged? In parts of the Inuit world, you handed the argument to the audience. A song duel. The two of them take turns in front of the whole camp, not fighting, singing, composed verses built to humiliate. Every embarrassing thing the other man has ever done, set to a drumbeat in front of his entire world. The crowd decides by laughing. Not a trial, not a vote, a verdict made of laughter. Now, push it as far as it goes. Someone is dead. In 1940, anthropologist E. Evans Pritchard published his account of the Nuer of South Sudan, and the first move is the strange one. The killer doesn't run from the community. He runs toward one man, the leopard-skin chief. This man commands nothing. No warriors, no power to order anyone to do anything. That's the point. He belongs to neither family, so neither can accuse him of taking a side. He takes the killer in, makes his home sanctuary, then walks between the families for weeks negotiating a payment in cattle. Notice what never happens. Nobody argues guilt. Everyone knows who did it. His job was never truth. It was an exit ramp. Built fast, before one death turned into 40. Everything so far is negotiation. The next layer is physical, and the most precise thing on this list. In parts of Aboriginal Australia, customary law includes a practice usually translated as payback, a ritual spearing of the thigh. The severity isn't left to whoever is angriest, it's encoded in anatomy. The outer thigh hurts and heals, the back of the thigh can cripple, the inner thigh runs beside the femoral artery, a strike there can kill. The elder holding the spear is choosing a sentence with the tip of it, and the purpose isn't pain, it's closure. Once the wound is accepted, the debt is finished, and nobody may raise it again. And this isn't ancient history, it's a living tradition, still argued over in Australian courtrooms today. And at the very top, when a group decided a man had to die, a repeat killer, or someone who'd become a tyrant, Boehm found one detail repeating across the records. The killing was handed to the offender's own close male relative, his brother, his cousin. That sounds monstrous. It's arithmetic. If a stranger does it, the dead man's family has someone to avenge. If his brother does it, there's nobody left to blame. The execution ends the problem instead of starting the next one. So look at what that system actually ran on. Today, you can wrong someone and never see them again. You can be cruel from behind a username. You can burn a friendship and move cities. You can hurt a person and simply exit their life. They couldn't. Every person they wronged was there at breakfast. That was the enforcement mechanism. Not law, proximity. We didn't build courts and prisons because we got more morale. We built them because we became strangers. 11.5 million cells exist because the thing that old system ran on is the thing we threw away. We traded the village for the city, the joke for the sentence, everyone knowing you for nobody having to.